Shelly Wilson, intuitive medium and author. Welcome to Nature of Reality Radio. I believe I heard about you from someone, whoever it may have been. Thank you for doing this, sending me a friend request suggestion on Facebook, and I sent you the friend request. I believe you friended me, and after I saw that you have a website, I like what I see here. People like you who are intuitive mediums and such, definitely worthy of being a guest on my show. A lot of these intuitive things that you channel through as being a medium have the ability to answer many unanswered questions that people have about the nature of reality. I'm sure even if it's not verifiable, it's worth discussing. But before we get into the stuff that you do in greater detail, I'd like to know about you for the sake of those that haven't heard about you. So before I give you the chance to tell your life story from a primary source website, I have a couple disclaimer for my listeners. All my shows now are pay-per-view. The last 30 to 40% of the shows, that is, the first 40 minutes or so will be free for everybody. The interviews will go on YouTube and Cost.tv. It's a miracle I haven't been kicked off YouTube yet with all the stuff I tried to expose, but I'm still there and I will be there for as long as I can be. But I prefer people listen to Cost.tv with the interviews on Cost.tv and not YouTube because that's a blockchain monetization channel. I will provide the link to the Cost.tv videos and all my YouTube videos. And well, if it's not there, that's because I haven't put it there yet. So listen on YouTube if it's not there yet. But please, if it is there, click on the Cost.tv link after listening it to YouTube for 15 seconds. Please listen for 15 seconds for the sake of giving me a view credit. Those view credits do certainly help me. And all my shows will from now on be an hour instead of 2 hours because doing 2 hour shows, as I told Shelly before this official start of the show, that's cost me dearly in terms of getting a big audience because people have lousy attention spans. Sorry, people, I need to give you a kick in the pants in that, but that's the way it is. So with all that out of the way, Shelly Wilson, let me put myself on mute so you can tell your life story from a primary source perspective. I do not have Alex Jones-itis, as I say on every show. I don't interrupt my guests. So you are more than welcome to babble all you want about whatever you want to babble about, because I babbled long enough, and I'll put myself on mute to let you say everything that you need. Don't spend too long on it, I must ask you, because there are some questions I need to get into, of course. So, and some other things I said I wanted to give you the opportunity to do before we end the show. So, knock yourself out. You got the floor.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for reaching out and for this opportunity to share a conscious conversation. And I just really want to share briefly, sometimes when we come into each other's awareness, whether it is through a Facebook suggestion or someone mentions a referral or things like that, I always have to trust that the universe is connecting us for one reason or another. And sometimes we realize that reason later. And much like your show title here, Nature of Reality, many times we wonder, well, what is real? What is our reality? And as a conscious creator, I fully believe that we are creating our reality. And a lot of that has to do with our energy emission, with what we're choosing to focus on, and absolutely how we're choosing to perceive it and how we're choosing to respond to it. So I like to deem myself an intuitive medium, and what that means is I know that I'm psychic, but many times there's a connotation with that term, psychic. It does mean of the soul, and so I prefer to use the term intuitive, meaning being in tune, shall we say, and a medium, that means that I can connect to those that have transitioned to the other side. And I also like to work with people to help them, once again, create the reality that they're seeking. So I've always known things. I've always been a very sensitive child, evolving into a sensitive adult. But now that I'm older and wiser, shall we say, and more aware, I now know what I'm tuning into and what is mine and what is not mine. That's why having the awareness that everything is energy and knowing what my own energetic emission is so important on this journey into consciousness. So I began practicing Reiki in 2008, and I had my wake up at that time as well. And from that moment forward, I knew that I wanted to assist others on their own journey into consciousness, into a system with embracing their aliveness. You know, many people simply go through the motions of life, and at times it feels like we're just existing and on autopilot. And I realize if we are in a body, why not embody that human life experience fully? And that does include living our life more fully and whatever that means to us individually. So, with that said, I am really excited to share a conscious conversation with you, Andrew, and let's see what we shall talk about this evening.
Awesome. With my mapacho pipe in hand, yeah, I do smoke mapacho during my shows. That's the most popular, well, not most popular, most potent, I should say, species of tobacco in the world. Should be the most popular. It's by far the most medicinal. If tobacco can be called medicinal, I say it can be, and mapacho is a great one, and it's great for me to, I think, smoke it during the show for the sake of clearing out any negativity and making it possible for those who are still lost in the matrix to some degree to be able to better understand the crazy stuff we talk about. Now, regarding what you just said about how everything in the universe happens for a reason, that kind of hit me kind of hard because I've had a little bit of what could be an unfortunate set of circumstances hit me, and I hope to think it will eventually work out. But perhaps you can make sense of how the universe is planning to let these things happen. Not to bore people with my life story, but I'm sure a lot of people are in this predicament, and a lot of people have decided to become in this predicament because of the silver short squeeze that's been going on. I could guarantee you that a lot of people, ever since that silver short squeeze, since the whole GameStop thing with the Wall Street Reddit group, have gotten themselves into a lot of debt probably because they wanted to buy a lot of silver to try to short squeeze the market and throw a monkey wrench into the bankers' agenda and whatnot. And I decided to jump on that bandwagon, not just with silver, but also a lot of other investment opportunities to like crystals, gemstones, spiritual stuff, and some other things that I'm planning to do and use in the future. That not hoard a lot of things too that I make sure I don't hoard them past their expiration date, but I know I'm going to use them and all. And racked up a lot of debt in the process, and that wasn't the most significant investment I had made. The most significant investment that I made regarding that was that I invested in my father and my uncle. I had a faith investment of sorts that they would be able to make it all work out in the end nicely for me by selling this farm property in New England from my paternal grandparents that they lived on. And I, as well as my brothers, were going to receive a good amount of money in that. And I mean, the deal I thought was going to go through on August 1st when everything was approved, but I'm not so sure that that's going to work out now. And I've been in the past few months working through lots of rituals and lots of meditations and such to try to make this happen. And I'm a little concerned right now that maybe when August 30th comes around, when the unofficial deadline happens, I'm going to find myself maybe in potentially a lot of debt because I made the mistake of investing in the faith that my father and uncle could make it possible for me to get a big check so I can pay off all that debt that I accumulated in a heartbeat. Wouldn't you know that on the same day, a few days ago, that I actually, at the dinner table with my folks, I admitted to them that I am in a lot of credit card debt right now because I'm invested in the faith that you'd be able to pull through with me on this. They were lecturing to me about how I may have to suffer the consequences of making this decision, and then lo and behold, when I looked at my destiny horoscope, now this destiny horoscope, it was actually written a while back, many months ago when I originally bought it. I could have, if I wanted to, read it in the future, well, read it in the ahead of time to see what was in the future, and I noticed that on the same day that they told me that, I saw that the destiny horoscope regarding a couple of positioning the planets suggested that emotional, personal, and money issues will come back to bite you. And I said this to my folks and said, you don't seem to believe astrology has my fate in the stars. Well, maybe this is a sign that this is in the stars, and it actually suggested you may find yourself paying the price of the debt you're in, although I have also looked at the future horoscopes for October and November, suggesting that maybe this will work out. My plan was to pay off all the credit card debt and then get a couple of other credit cards, and then after my debt was at zero, and then use those new credit cards to buy some more gold and silver, and then get the bonus airline miles on those credit cards. So I was hoping that maybe when I saw in the October and November horoscopes that you're going to be tempted to spend, but you'll have to discipline yourself. Well, I intuited that as meaning the farm is going to get sold. I'm going to get this money. I just got to discipline myself not to use it. But well, maybe not. Now I'm seeing this thing saying that you're going to have to pay the price of racking up a lot of debt. So
Yeah.
what could the universe possibly be trying to
Yes.
teach me as a result of this? And how could it be that I've gone through so much ritual and so much meditation and so much envisioning using the law of attraction and all to try to make this happen, and I could find that it's all going to backfire right in my face?
So right away, what we have to trust is some things that we want to happen, or even you using the term make happen, isn't meant for us. So as much as we do all of the work and we put the energy out there and everything, we have to trust that there's many other factors at play. And my sense, Andrew, first of all, this sale is going to go through. I get a sense that there was a hitch on the other end, and that they're either gathering their resources or something to that effect. But I'm just getting a sense of an extension. And if you can trust and be in the flow without getting yourself in a tizzy, you're going to be in that flow of creation. But right away, you're already second guessing the faith that you had. And by doing that, you're putting limitations and restrictions on your manifestation. Now, what we want to trust too, there's a lot of people that just want to win the lottery. And they, in turn, hope that by doing that, that will ease their suffering, that will ease their financial woes, that will help make things better. But if we also look at, well, what does that really represent? And this is why a lot of things in the universe are more metaphorical or more symbolic. And that's why I remind people, if we can really manifest with the feeling and let go of the details, that's where the magic happens. And, you're not the only person, of course, that has made decisions, hoped for the best, and things didn't come out exactly as you hope as soon as you hoped it to, but things still turn out well. And whether we look at it being fate or destiny or creation or whatever, I just feel like sometimes we have to let go of the reins, so to speak, and move back into that flow of trusting and ease and grace and gratitude. And rather than doing rituals, to me, just bring in more gratitude into your daily practice and see yourself in that flow and see what evolves from that.
Well, I do hope it'll work out, and I've been trying to show the gratitude too, among other things, even though I did flat out tell my father, I put my faith in you and my uncle and your brother, my uncle, to get this done. And if you tell me in a few days that it's not going to go through, that's going to shatter my dreams to pieces. In spite of the fact that I had a feeling that he may shatter my dreams to pieces, I still had the the gratitude feeling and the to give him and my mother a couple of fish that my coworker at work he went fishing and he
Right.
got 5 trout, and I decided to give him two of those trout. I'm
Yes.
thinking the universe
Yeah.
has definitely got to reward me for being willing to do this, and anything
Yeah.
that I need to do to. And also, I've been picking up litter at a
Yeah.
great
Well,
greater than
that's a
I ever
nice
been the last
gesture.
couple days in order to try to make this happen. Well, okay, you're
hmm
saying you shouldn't necessarily try to
Yeah.
make it happen,
Yeah,
but
and don't try
well,
anyway. Just see yourself in the flow. See yourself doing it. Express gratitude. Don't try to express gratitude. And what's coming to me to share as well, I know that your family wants this to go through for themselves as well. So there's no way that they're wanting to undermine this cell just to get at you or just to shatter your dreams. So to me, this is where having a shift in perception is going to open the flow up as well.
hmm yeah, I didn't realize I was not on mute there. So yes, but thank you, and I'm glad to hear that your intuition is telling you that this is going to work out for me. It does certainly
Yes.
help
Yes.
things be hopefully work out a little better than that. And yeah, I can't imagine how when I saw that thing in several months ago saying the month of October you're going to find yourself tempted to spend a lot of money, but you got to discipline yourself not to. Well, I'm certainly in no position to do that right now with all the debt that I've paid up, so I can't imagine how that could be
Right.
possible unless I got the farm thing went through, enabled me to pay all my credit card debts off. But you know, with being able to get some new credit cards as a result of that, and hoping to spend like maybe $3,000 in 3 months to be able to get a ton of extra airline miles that I hope to use in the future. That's some would say that's kind of risky, though. Got to make sure you don't take it too far with that. So yeah, I'm gonna.
Well, I think this is where you tune in for yourself. And, the other thing is horoscopes are fun and they can be very entertaining. But if we put all of our power into what those words say, that's a way that we're creating our reality too. So if we're stuck on those words, we're giving energy to them and therefore we're creating exactly what they say. So they're fun to work with, but if you want to just see them as, like we say in this business, for entertainment purposes, but you can definitely take it too far, and anyone can do this, just like a fortune cookie. They're meant to be fun. You get them with a cookie at the end of your meal. However, many people will take it once again exactly as is and give it a lot of power.
Good advice there. Now, one of your books here, 28 Days to a New You. I guess I'll give you the opportunity to explain what some of your books are about if you want to make a little bit of a sales pitch about them. But that number 28, certainly very pertinent. It's basically a lunar cycle kind of thing. Is that out of curiosity? Is that the did you have lunar cycle in mind when you wrote that 20 days, or is it
No, I didn't. Actually, the whole reason with 28 days is because that's 4 weeks. And the idea with that is it takes 21 days to change a habit. So I wanted to give people an extra week to make sure they got everything in that they needed to. And the idea of what we're changing when we think of changing things anyway is we're changing our perception. So I'm giving you 28 topics that you can focus on daily to help to shift your perception in how you want to look at life and how you want to live and how you want to manifest.
Yeah, I think you just said about 21 days to change a habit. That does, I can understand that because I remembered some ritual things, some programs that I like regarding writing and envisioning and meditating and all. It mentioned doing for 21 days, and I think those people who create those things do have in mind the thing you just said about it takes 21 days to change a habit. Well, can you maybe help us make sense of why that is? Why 21 days? Why a fortnight plus half a fortnight?
Well, reality, if we choose change, we can choose it instantaneously. I think a lot of it, though, has to do about actually putting it into practice, because we as humans tend to be creatures of habit, so to speak. So therefore, in order to change something, we've got to get in a practice of doing something different. And I just feel like sometimes people need a little bit of time to do that, but by all means, we can do it as soon as we choose to, which can be today.
Yes, and when it comes to using the stars and the numbers, are you a proponent of looking at the horoscope or the numerological reading before you do something, or is it better, or do you feel that you're just going to make things more confusing for yourself if you try to obsess a little bit too much about that? So it's better to just do it and maybe check the horoscope after you did it to see if it was worth it before, like check the horoscope before or after.
Yeah, well, I think when I was younger, I did have a habit of reading the daily horoscope. And, when it would show up and I'd feel into it, this makes sense, this resonates. And I would always just go with it. But I will tell you, I can't actually remember the last time I read my horoscope in regards to anything coming up, whether it was before or after. And maybe that's just because I feel confident with the choices that I'm making speaking or where I'm at. But my main thing now is, once again, having the understanding of energy and knowing that everything has to do with our awareness of what we're tuning into.
Yes, and regarding Reiki, let's get into the science of Reiki for a little bit. Currently reading a mini ebook about Reiki I am, and certain different styles of it. Now, the question I frequently ask people who talk about Reiki on my show, first of all, is to put yourself through a learning class to become a Reiki a master, or to can be taught yourself, or and when you say the 21 days thing it takes to break a habit, one would think it's not, like with Reiki, it's similar. You can't just acknowledge that you have the power to do something and then be able to just do it. You have to tune yourself into the force, and that's going to take a little bit of effort. One doesn't become a Jedi Master overnight. So is the same thing true with have to be true with Reiki?
Well, knowing that we're all energetic beings, so we're made up of energy just like everything around us. And what Reiki is, it's a Japanese technique for stress reduction and relaxation that promotes healing. And what sets Reiki apart from other healing modalities is you actually become attuned to it. So this is where the energy is opened up or transferred from one Reiki master to a student. And then there's 3 levels in Usui Reiki Master, which is what is the most well known. Level 1 opens you up to the energy. Level 2, you get 3 symbols to work with. And level 3, or Reiki Master, is where you can teach and attune others, and you get 3 symbols as well. And Reiki is something I've been practicing since 2008. I've been teaching it since 2009, and I believe that anyone can learn it and become attuned to it. And some people, of course, want to do this to help others and provide healing to others. But to me, what Reiki is all about is it's love. And we provide a channel for opening up to that healing energy. And I always tell my students and those coming to me for healing that Reiki is first and foremost to you, and it will come in and help to clear out that energetic clutter. So anything and anyone that no longer serves you in a positive, healthy, and balanced way, Reiki is going to come in and help to shift that energy.
Okay, we'll get to Reiki in a little bit, but I just noticed you have a YouTube channel. Though it's interesting, your last video was 3 months ago, and the first video was 9 years ago, and then there was nothing for 8 years. Is that
Right.
how that happened? Or
Yeah, I'm one of those people, Andrew. I get where I'm focused on something. And so literally years ago, I created the channel because everybody said you need a YouTube channel. And so I created a chakra clearing exercise put on it. And then several months ago, I got the nudge, I need to be more active. And I don't want to say that I have other things to do, but my energy tends to get focused elsewhere. And if I'm not in the mood, so to speak, or in the flow to create videos, then I'm not going to do that. So I like to show up periodically as a Facebook Live, much like I did today, and offer words of wisdom and inspiration and share some messages. And I know that Spirit's nudging me to create some more videos, that kind of thing, but I never like to feel forced to do something, because when we do that, the inspiration tends to be lacking.
well, everybody's got their own style. Now the chakra clearing and balancing, even though this video was done 9 years ago, which is way outlier compared to everything else, which was in the last year or so, I think I might as well ask you to turn back the clock and talk about how that chakra clearing and balancing works. Before I do that, though, give you a chance to do that, though, I first want to discuss with you about something that I cannot help but talk about on my show whenever I bring up chakras, and that's pick on George Kavassilis, the great Australian consciousness and metaphysics expert, who caused a brouhaha of sorts over the years with his assertion that it's not worth it for us to focus on chakras because chakras The whole idea of using chakras and worrying about them, maybe not worry, but um, trying to utilize them and all that, actually he claims was started in conjunction with the fall of Atlantis. You would think that something like that would, chakras and all that would work in conjunction with the rise of a society, but he asserts that that Atlantis and Lemuria, I guess as well, they were essentially all about what he's about, and that's go with the heart. And if you go with the heart, you can't go wrong. But as a result of their downfall, which was caused by a series of factors, he says that one of them was to move away from the heart and try to make things complicated in a way by by worrying about the chakras to a greater extent. And he says that you don't have to do that if you just go with the heart. You can't go wrong. My argument to him, though, is that he's kind of ignoring the fact that variety is one of the big spices of life, and if you only go with the heart and you don't get bored by doing that, well, then more power to you for not getting bored, but you're still missing out on the variety, and nobody likes to miss the opportunity to use other means and other abilities and other parts of the system in order to try to expand consciousness. So, do you agree or disagree with his screw the chakras, just go with the heart?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I've never heard of him, so that tells you that I'm obviously not in tune with what he has to say. And I'll tell you, I had someone tell me a few weeks ago that her chakras have disappeared and that many of her clients, they've just disappeared. And I just was like, oh, okay, that's your perception. And my thoughts, because we're energetic beings, well, it totally makes sense to look at those energy centers and knowing that there's 7 main ones within the physical body. Each one's connected to organs and emotions. Each one has a color. And I feel like working with them, having an understanding of them, helps us to understand our energy better, to tune in. And I'm all about heart-centered consciousness and leading with the heart. But I also recognize that each one of the chakras does play an essential role in our energetic beings as well.
Yes, and one case in point that I try to give to make my case that he's missing out on things is like put it this way, going with the heart, you can't go wrong, but you can't know everything. Not that knowing everything makes you all powerful and all, but I mean, Akashic Records reader Andrew Bartzis, who has the ability to access the Akashic Records, he claims that the crown chakra plays a big role in his ability to read the Akashic Records to, in effect, answer any question that one would throw at him. Now, George Kavazis, on the other hand, he cannot do that with his going with the heart method, and I found that out when I asked him in a private session with him, do you by any chance know which moons in the solar system are actually alien biospheres masquerading as natural moons? And he said, no, I don't. That's not information that I carry within my heart soul essence. So if I ever see him again, I may want to ask him, well, if you want to be a know-it-all, why would you not want to get the crown chakra involved and see what his answer would
Right,
be? But is that
right.
do you agree or disagree with my argument there that that's a good reason to not just go with the
Well,
heart all the
I
time?
think, once again, Andrew, this is the nature of reality, right? And each person has their own perspective of life and living and what that entails. And, those things that are something that resonates with us, we're going to have knowledge about it. We're going to want to learn about it. And those things that just don't resonate either, it probably won't be in our awareness. So I think that knowing once again that all of those energy centers are essential to us, if we choose to see it that way, that's all that really matters.
Okay, and with that said, I'm not going to ask you to do the actual clearing and balancing on this show. People can go to the video to do it. But there's many different strategies for this. What is your strategy that's best regarding how you clear and balance chakras that may be energy blocked. And one more thing I want to point out about this is in the event that the person in question has some sort of an entity sabotage, because Daniel Teague of Vega Star Healings, I've asked him for a lot of help. He's done a lot of healings on and clearings on me as well as other people that I know, and he has occasionally run into people who have some sort of a um, demonic entity that's hijacked their aura and their chakra system, which is causing them to not only have all their chakras energetically blocked, but also it can cord other people if they're doing like a sermon or a spiritual lesson in front of people. That entity can cord those other people, and that's not going to work out too well. And he says that if he wanted to do a chakra activation, and he can power up all your chakras if they're working solely or energetically blocked, he said someone that would have a entity in their aura that's doing that, he can't just open the chakras up and expect it to last for very long, because the entity, he would have to do a much more complicated healing, where he would actually clear out the entity first before he clears out the chakras. So does that, I guess I should say, make sense to you that that's what you'd have to do? Would it be completely different if you knew if the person in question who you're trying to clear and balance the chakras have had an entity that hijacked their aura and chakra system to cord other people that they interact with? Is that going to be a much more complex clearing and balancing than the one that you gave in that video that you uploaded 9
Yeah,
years ago?
well, I think, once again, everything has to do with our perception and our belief. And, some people very well may have attachments or imprints or energy connections in that way. But I feel like, some may need a little bit extra work involved. And otherwise, chakra clearing and balancing is as simple as your intention. And I like to just go through each chakra, starting at the base or root chakra and move to the crown. So starting at the bottom, going to the top, and just see each chakra as its respective color, going with your shade preference, and just visualize it as healthy and balanced and cleared. I don't even like to use the term open or closed or blocked. I like to go with saying healthy and cleared and balanced. So it's, once again, a different approach perhaps, and just then envisioning that you're breathing in that color and exhaling that color and then going up to the next one. So it's something that can be very easily done, and, other people can do it for you, but it's something you could, of course, do for yourself in just a few minutes.
Yes, and there are some other chakras that are above the crown chakra, like the soul star, the universal, and the divine gateway are some term names that I've heard for them. Now these chakras, would you have to do a completely different clearing and balancing for them because they're above the crown, or is it generally
Well, honestly, Andrew, I don't even work with those chakras because I'm focused on the ones in the physical body. And so, I know that working with those, especially through meditation, if you're wanting to reach other dimensions and things like that, you can do that and work with visualization as well. But I'm more concerned with what's in the physical body and, once again, having this human life experience.
Thank you. All right, almost reached 40 minutes. It's probably been 35 more, but I guess at this point in the interview, from this point onward, folks, you're going to have to pay me on Patreon to be able to listen to the rest of it. So, sorry, folks, it's just the way it is now, and nothing wrong with getting paid for your work. It kind of sends a message to the universe that you think you're more worthy of your work, which is, don't get me wrong, I want to be done with money. Everybody does, but until that day comes, there's things we gotta do, sacrifices we gotta make, and